Yeah, hey guys, what's going on? I was just setting stuff up real quick. Usually I do this before I stream, so I didn't even think about it. Hey, how's it going? Just totally zoned out thinking about that stuff while I was doing this. Okay, well, we're doing session prep. FYI. I was just setting stuff up. So, how are you guys doing? Hopefully well. I'm doing alright. I figured we'd up and do it. I am going to turn off this music though, which is what I was in the process of doing. Because I'm going to listen to my own music that I can't share with you. Because if I share it with you, then this will get heavily demonetized very quickly. But I am going to listen to something. What am I going to listen to? Let's see. YouTube algorithm, will it bless me today or not? Probably not, but we'll see. We'll see what it does. Let's see. No, I don't listen to that. I don't listen to that. Sure, let's try. Could do that, could do that. You know what? Yeah. I like them. We'll do them. Oh, this is years. I'm gonna listen to some Fog Weaver. Sound? Okay, sound is on. Let's start. It's got some waves setting up. I show you what the whole thing looks like real quick. In case you, for whatever reason, want to listen along with me. Full screen. There we go. And Fog Weaver, 4 hours of ethereal fantasy synth by Fog Weaver. By Out of Seasons. But yeah, we're gonna do some session prep, D&D session. Actually, the first thing we need to do is we've got an important session. No, that is loud in my ear. It would be loud. I was just waiting for it to kick in. Before we get down into it, I actually need to do my transcription of post-session notes. So let's do that first. Because I have not been good at keeping up with that one. Our last session that I did take it for, but I did not. But the session before I did not. So I'm playing my Friday night game. So basically, we've got another person who runs campaigns now as well, who wanted to jump back into our mix, our other sort of primary DM for the group. They're jumping back in to run stuff, so I have 2 weeks off to worry about this next session, but why wait? Don't procrastinate. Just take care of it. That's what we're going to do. But before we do that, I actually have to go back and do the other stuff. So let's go back to session 34, because I did not do the recap for session 34. In fact, I forgot to write the session recap for session 34. That was the one where we were exiting a player because he's moving. And because of that, we ran very long. We ran like an hour and a half over our usual time. And I was just tired when I got home, and I went to sleep, and then forgot I didn't write my notes, so I didn't write it the morning of, the morning after, which is usually when I write it if I'm too tired. Totally skipped my mind, though. So let's get there to it. This is been... Yeah, okay. So I remember to write notes when I was asking my friends what my players what happened during this session. So yeah, there's not too much to it, I don't think. Yeah. Got some notes. Alright, so we left off with them going in, and that's where we picked up. Okay. I was clearly writing this fast because my handwriting is very poor in these notes, so this might take longer than I was expecting. Random piece of paper. I'm sure that'll be important. I will look for it later. It just fell on the floor. Behind my desk. Alright. The body of the vegemen, the crocodile. I mean, we basically did, so Therefore, we did this Lavender Grove adventure. So there's not, it's all pretty much there. That's exactly what happened. So, usually is a, so, and I guess I should. So it's Caleb, Dwayne, not Dwayne, and Zarnock, and Amina. Dwayne. Proceed into the Lavender Grove adventure. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward. Do I have the actual write out? That'll be actually easier for me to look at, probably. Off of that. Nina's character. There we go. So Lavender Grove adventure. We did this on stream. If you missed that stream, that's the adventure. This was a 5-room dungeon because I wanted it to be a one-shot because I knew we were going to have to exit that player. Unfortunately, we still just took longer, as is the case, as it tends to be. So yeah, I mean, nobody gets poisoned, so that's fine, which is good. So they got to the Broken Causeway. Yeah, they shifted past that. They didn't have any issues. So they had no issues passing the Broken Causeway. I believe it was Caleb. It might have been Zarnock. And I'm gonna say Caleb though. Caleb locked. That the causeway had been purposefully I'll say fouled to drop people into the leech ridden pool. Yeah, that was it. So they continued with that. Didn't really learn anything from there. About this person, new and stuff. Went to the vegemen settlement and got into the vegemen in the village and watched them disappear through a hut into their underground warren. And I'm trying to remember. I don't think they really had much else. At that point, they decided to go right. They spent a little bit of time here, fussing around with things. They headed to the Crocodile Bayou crossed, and Caleb had a natural 20. Divine intervention. So we have the cleric who did a little prairie prayer for some help. Aid. And the Night Swan. I'll go ahead. I'll bold it here in a second. The Night Swan in the bayou to make it a bog. Kind of forcefully filled it in, which took care of the crocodiles very easily. They did not do well in the bog. Everybody else made it out though, and did investigate dead elf body. I believe it's elf. Might have been half elf. I think it's elf. And which takes us all the way here. They completely missed the Hillock Shack. They did not go mess with Lasha at all. And yeah, they confirmed they had the stuff from the bloated body. And they visited the Crown Keep. Visited the Crown Keep. Found the empty cricket box. And the ruined book. And the mentions of Ionos. I think that's about it. They fought some blights. Dwayne was compelled by his fiend to search out the gate. We're gonna put capital G, gate. Turns invisible and leave. Because part of this, which I'm going to go back in later here in just a second, is that in addition to the group doing these things, remember that we have a PC who is actually not with the rest of the group. Because my players love nothing more than to split up. So we do have one player who is back. Unfortunately, it's the druid, and the druid would have been extremely useful on this adventure. Both in getting there and doing the stuff and getting back. But the druid, and rightfully so, decided to stay back with the sick vegemen and help Helmuth derive some sort of treatment for them to try to deal with this lavender blight that they are affected by. Just the wisteria tree, the cricket box. Oh yeah, the magic in the loam. Right. So in the loam, around the tree. Loam, by the way, is just a very, very fancy 4-letter word for fertile earth that things grow in. That's called loam. I think that's about it. They left, and we picked up with them next time. Crossing back into the vegemen. And we leave off with them exiting through the now crocodile. Or no, they went through the warrens, didn't they? Man, it's been weeks. I think they went through the warrens. Warrens into the Vegemen village. Alright, so that is where they left off. So in addition to that, our friend was also doing stuff, which is not part of this adventure. Did I write notes down? I think so. It wasn't much they ended up happening, because I kind of needed to stall them, because if they really started going after the Maragon's Gate stuff, they were going to get annihilated. And I'm trying to save my PC from a very silly death, which would be, hey, go check out these very dangerous dungeon by yourself. Which they proceed to do in our next session that I also need to write the recap for. But luckily, they chose the one direction there wasn't something immediately, which is good for us. Or else ash would be, well, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. For sure be dead. They've gone the other way. So they... Yeah, they had learned about Lasha. They didn't encounter Lasha. Yep, that was dumb, and I didn't write anything down for Ash. But Ash at this point... This was... Let me see. What's... Let's look... Let me look back at this recap real quick. See where I left off with him. So... Let's play the blight sample. Yeah. Ash heads down the hole and finds Helmuth. Leaf carving! Yeah, the fiend, undetermined. With a metal mask riveted to their face, guarding a portal. Goes in the other corner. Okay, yes. So they were going down the other way. Got it. Got it. That's where we left off with them. All right. So in that time, Ash did not do much in this one, and I think that's, I didn't worry too much about. So it's really difficult when you have one player that shifts off from the rest of the group to like balance your attention, because most of it needs to be on the rest of the group. But to solve that, I gave him the stat block for Crookback and Mina, which is the NPC they had with them. I was like, well, you're gonna play her. So that way you're not twiddling your thumbs for 3/4 of our session. So I didn't really worry too much about them. And they got I don't think Ash got a good look at them. Ash explores the long passage for a bit. And I think I don't think he actually laid eyes on them. I think he only heard them. No, I think he saw them. At least their silhouettes. And because they're small, knuckle-dragging creatures in the dark, chittering before shooting. And that's pretty much all Ash did. I mean, there was a lot of like, oh, you're going out the front. There's a lot of like sensory investigation stuff, but not really anything to write as far as a recap. It's like, I went a little bit, I explored, I made some checks, I went forward, I explored, I did some checks until I got to there. And that was everything for session 34. Session 35. We'll do the recap. Let's put that, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll put it down here. Alright, so the recap. What happened in session 35? This one, I actually did take some notes for. Go me. Try to do it every time, but sometimes I'm a little bit more successful than others. Let's see. In the vegemen camp, the party pokes around a little more until they're interrupted by a maddened giant. A stone lodged in her forehead. Asha. I believe it's Zarnok. Zarnok recognizes the stone as the same type of one that's in the Ethermaster suite. On a so the Ethermaster suite is a painting they have come across. And there are a number of people. There's one person, sort of like if you imagine Girl with a Pearl Earring kind of situation, where you have like one person sitting down and they're kind of like 3/4 profile, kind of looking at the painter, and they are bedecked in their fine jewelry and raiments. And the group has started to pick up that, hey, a number of these things keep showing up, and they seem to be of extreme power. They know a little bit about them, but not too much yet. They haven't really had a chance to investigate it a lot. They've been busy. Primarily with this, because this piggybacked right off of the big spring festival that they went through. And that led us right into the adventure that they're on right now, which we're drawing to the close of. We hope. Or at least this part of it. They don't know anything about the stone because they don't have anybody who knows anything about jewelry, unfortunately, or gemstones. That part they're not as sure on, but they do recognize it's the same one. Let's see. Yeah. The group escapes through the vegemen warrens and exits the Lavender Grove adventure. Which is fine. So they never actually made it to Lasha's shack. Which is not too big of a deal. I think there was some loot they missed out on. I think that's about it. I'm trying to remember if there's anything story-wise that maybe they're gonna have a question mark on. Oh right, she's also covered lavender blight. And has a stone lodge for it. But yeah, I think that's it. Originally, I was going to have her. She was just wearing the ring, but I was like, oh, it'd be cooler if like it's like fully just in her body. It's deadly encounter. And they missed a couple of things, but nothing of particular interest. The important thing is that they came across Lasha, so they learned that she had the bloodstone. That's the part that's important. And so I made sure that happened. That's when they were farting around, that was who was gonna come and get them and spook them off so they didn't spend a whole bunch more time in here because they're done here. They don't need to be in this Lavender Grove anymore. They've accomplished what they need to accomplish. In the meantime, the ash helps the vegemen out of the tunnel once the wind dies down. Yeah, I guess we don't really need a period. Confirms the best possible treatment for the lavender blight. Best possible lavender blight treatment for the vegemen. Holy water, which is essentially radiant damage. Again, they could use fire. Fire has issues with it with the spores, and that the vegemen do not regenerate. So vegepygmies regenerate. It's a super useful quality for them, which made this situation actually a lot more bearable than it otherwise would have been. Because they're like, we can actually try out a whole bunch of treatments on these creatures and see what works, because they will regenerate. Unless, we burn them. Or I think give them acid damage, I think is the other one. Whichever. So for this one, it was like, oh, well, they'll be able to, you can give them radiant damage, and that's really bad for the Lavender Blight, but also seems to work okay on the vegemen, because they will regenerate from it. Yeah, nothing else needed there. Ash uses his familiar bat to explore down where the monsters were. Shows that That swoops down, and the small knuckle draggers are gone. Gone. Moves forward. And sees a fishman. Or Sahagwin. Snatches the bat out of the air. Who, I guess, strikes the bat. Strikes it down. Block. So yeah. The lost is familiar, which is fine. He's not too worried about that. No, I'm looking. Not the right thing to look at. So that's what Ash was up to. The group heads back through the salt marsh towards the island proper. They split with Amina, who travels on to Farah to make her report. So at this point, it's late in the evening, and they've started taking. They basically had exerted all their stamina to get to the actual adventure location. They did the adventure location, and then they came out of it basically being at the point where, hey, we can try to make it back right now, but doing so is probably going to give us levels of exhaustion. They take on levels of exhaustion because they're not rolling really high, and every time that they move, that DC continues to tick up until they take a rest. And stopped by a campfire. See if the will have a ride, essentially a donkey they can buy. So the people they actually come across are the people that they missed going out, which is this group of pirates. Trio of pirates. It was an elf, a horrid, and what was the other one? Tiefling. Oh, who's gonna be the captain? Trio of pirates. It was a very funny encounter because it's like it's clearly they're pirates. They're clearly here to dig up something. What did pirates dig up? There's only one thing pirates dig up, but the PCs are fully unconcerned with that. So Sonak and Caleb way overpay for a donkey and ride it back to the camp. Nothing else really happens. It's a very funny, like, just interaction that they have. The pirates are obviously very, very suspect, and they say some very strange things. Not the pirates, the PCs. So the pirates are a little, they're not sure how they feel about them, but then they're able to play it off. And group makes it back. They are exhausted. I think that both of them at that point have 4 levels of exhaustion. And again, we're using the 2014 rules. And collapse. Ash, meanwhile, is back in the passage below after picking up a waft of stale brimstone that leads him back to the underground. So, just for my own notification, that is going to be swaying. Visible swaying. Moves to the portal. So it's just following that scent. Ash follows a long passage. Terminates in a door. Opens the door and investigates this giant-sized truly for giants. And sends one wild shape and a wolf prey. I think it's wolf spider. Doesn't find anything of note, just because there's nothing in that room, which is. Oh wait, this is VO1. Megagon Gate, VO1. That way I will remember where they went. And it's back. I tried to make it as tense as I could, and as he's alone with a single solitary light investigating this area, giving little jump scares and little things like that. But the only thing he finds in that room, as we know, because it is the only thing that's in BO1, which let me pull it up, is the massive magical barrel, which he does detect magic on. Ash does detect magic on and checks out. Which is essentially one of my other players actually ends up calling it first. He's like, "You just discovered an air filter." It's like, "Yeah, you just discovered an air filter that's collected all the dust." I was like, "This room has surprisingly no dust in it." When you get in there, they felt appropriately trolled, and they sent their PC back to camp. So, long rest. Group takes a long rest. No issues. So, exhaustion 3 for Caleb and Zarnok. Luckily, their druid has no levels of exhaustion, which is very good. Some for Ash. So, it's the morning of. In the morning, they exchange information. Caleb performs ritual ceremony. Create a vial of holy water. So they have that. So now they have the ability. So they have the means now that they can actually prove this will work. Hopefully to Ghazi Takisha. And that is, I think that's pretty much where we left it. Let me double check my notes, but I think that's everything. Go back. Mina. They stumble through the encounter with pirates. Trade the mini items for the donkey. They make it back to the vegemen with lots of exhaustion. And that. They'll sulfur and goes back in. They go down to BO1. Floor. The night passes. Yes. All right. That's the session. Great. So, recaps. Done. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this stuff. You know what? I'm going to take everything down to here. How about that? Don't need it, but we're taking it anyways. So we need a new little tab. We need a sub tab. This is going to be session 36. Set up our next session. Hello. There we go. All right. So session 36. Dropped all this in. Hi. That is not the... Did you not copy the stuff? Why did you not copy the stuff? Copy. Paste. We've done it. Finally. All right. So, session 36. It is the next day, which means it's actually 21. Spring Mother 21, which is I can't remember my own days of week. Calendar man does it. Calendar can. All right, 21. Loam's Day. Speaking of Loam, it's Loam's Day. And you might notice that the number just jumped dramatically from 15 to 21. The first number always tells you what week of the month it is, and then the second number tells you what day of the week it is. So it goes from 15 to 21 because the 5th day is the last day of the week. Then it goes to the next week. So this is now, officially, it's been a week since the festival, when all this stuff kicked off. So it's been, we're working on day 6. And it's first quarter moon. That's probably not going to be too important, I don't think, for anything that's going on for the phase of the moon. But that does mean that some other things change. So they're going to milk and process dairy. They did not go into town, so they didn't have to really deal too much with it being a day of rest. But, like, places weren't open. And we're going to continue on with the weather that we have. All right. Apparently, I did not say what that was. Number that was. Well, silly me. Let me throw you to my shining face real quick. But like, I'll go find my hex flower. Weather hex. Here we go. So they were on O2. Go to 5. It was average, breezy, cloudy. Yeah, I think that's 5. All right, so that's actually 05. Okay, good. Got it. Perfect. Sorry. Let me throw you back to me. There we go. So I need a 1d8, please. Big money, no whammies. 7. 7 for the sun. Oh, we're in the same spot. Perfect. Easy. So we'll just copy this all over. At least it's not raining, which is nice, because it rained most of the last week for them, unfortunately. So they're going to milk and process dairy. That's what the folk, like the normal village folks, so if they ever go to a farmstead or they're on the countryside and they meet up with people, that's what they're working on at this time of year. Now that they've done the calving and everything, they're just getting all that milk so they can make cream and butter and cheese and all that stuff. So, our point of order or foreshadowing. Alright, so we don't need anything here. We know exactly what they're doing. Current stamina is 0. And we can remove swing, which is helpful because that means that everybody in the party at this point has a 14 for the DC for stamina. Injuries? None. don't have any injuries right now. Ooh, rations are bad. I think the Swain's gone. Caleb doesn't have any still. Ash used good berry in the morning. I should write that down in the notes. And the appropriate thing. There we go. Ash Kiss. Good berry. For those without. So yeah, they still don't really have rations. For the most part. They're real low on rations, except for Zarnok, who's doing fine on rations. If that seems weird to you, I do keep track of rations and ammunition and that stuff in our game. Same way that I'm using the exhaustion rules. But the way that I do is we use a resource die, so whenever I have them call for rations, for instance, you'll see the 1d6 next to Zarnok. Zarnok rolls a d6. That player rolls a d6. If they roll a 2 or higher, everything's good. It's all gravy. If they roll a 1, then it goes down to a 1d4. And then next time they get called on, they'll roll a d4. If they roll a 1 again, then it gets to the situation that Ash is in right now, where they only have 1 day of rations left. And after that day, you'll see they end up like Caleb. They don't have any food left. The problem with that primarily is that you cannot fulfill a long rest if you do not take food. If you do not have food, you cannot take a long rest. A long rest requires you to take food and water and, except for elves, sleep. And the elves must trance. But that is the situation we're at. Everything's looking good from that side. So, don't need anything for the journey back, so. The morning of Ghazi Takisha's arrival. So I believe I told them that because that's what I have in my notes, is that they have the opportunity, they're going to be able to do like 1 or 2 things pretty quickly before Ghazi Takisha shows up with her soldiers. Or they can ride out to meet Ghazi Takisha. I think that will make the DCs probably easier if they meet her further along the way, which is going to be very parallel to how it was last time, the first time they met Ghazi Takisha when she was on the warpath. Is like, you'll have more time to prepare, but the DCs will be harder because they're going to be they're whipping themselves up to basically do a little bit of violence. And so trying to talk them down after they're getting their blood riled up is going to be difficult. They also, at this point, have not sent any notices out to any of their allies. Not that that's bad gameplay on their part. Like, my players kind of failed this. No, they were busy, and they came back utterly exhausted in the middle of the night. Except for Ash. I mean, I guess Ash could have done something. But Ash was also taking care of the vegemen. So, I was going to see, have anything down here? I felt like I wrote something for this a little bit. Yeah, let me copy this because it's kind of whatever. Amina made her constitution saving throw, so she was not ill from her magic exposure. So one of the ways that things that works in this custom world setting is that magic, it's not 1-to-1, but is in a way like radiation. Is that most people who get close to it or spend a lot of time around magic, they tend to get real sick. Things tend to go real bad for them. There are some people who seem to be relatively immune to this. And those people tend to be adventurers. They tend to be the people who end up in the line of work of adventuring, because the magic doesn't seem to affect them very much. But it also means when you have people like Zarnok, who's walking around with a magic axe, granted his magic axe is still very, very low level, but as they start to get more plentiful and higher level magic gear, they can't take that stuff into town with them, or else there's a chance that they can just kill people by being around them. Like, they will irradiate parts of the town that they hang out in. So they have to be very careful about it. That's why there are these things, we talked about it earlier, that they found. Cricket box. Cricket is an inventor in the world, like an artificer. And Cricket has, that's his name, that's his box. He has these like magical containment boxes that allow people to stuff. I figured they were gonna pick that box up, but they didn't do that. Would have been nice to have. They're actually pretty expensive. As far as they know, it still worked fine. It was just opened. What was in it? I mean, I know. I feel like my players should know at this point. The Bloodstone. The Bloodstone was probably in it. It's also, like, the Cricket box also does a thing where, like, protects it from divination and stuff, where it has, like, the inch of lead or whatever, so you can't use divination spells on it. So it makes it very useful for, say, hiding magic items that you don't want people to find. Who would have done that? Well, there are signs of who those people were and what they wanted to do and the location they were at. So I think this is all. So really, it's just going to be a question of where are they going to go next. So I'm going to. Good golly, Miss Molly. Force of habit, I tend to turn my keyboard off because it has lights that backlighting on it, and it annoys me when I'm not using it because it kind of fades in and out all the time. But I forget about it when I'm streaming because I'm not looking at my keyboard. I turn it off and then I try to type stuff or copy and paste stuff, and I can't do that. I've turned the keyboard off. Up down here and do that. All right. All right. So Mother 21. Hey, it's Spring Mother 21. All right. So the group must provide hard evidence of dealing with the blight, or Ghazi Takisha will, and her soldiers, and her warriors, we'll put that, will commit a little bitty genocide. Not a big one, just a baby genocide. Not a genocide of babies, a baby as in a tiny genocide. A little bitty genocide. Alright, so we know from Halameth that holy water is the best tool for the job. So with Amina, we found at first the blight, which is the wisteria tree. Giant tree. And the group found the footprints of the giant, the forced growth, magic fertilizer on the tree, and the broken cricket box that still has a lot of magical residue. Amina did say from this. And Swain has disappeared once more, but this time you have the feeling your paths may not converge again. Actually, that's probably going to be untrue. I was trying to be fancy there. I'm going to say your paths are no longer aligned. Okay. That's the setup. So, before her arrival, I'll say before her Takisha. So, I assume that this will be mostly a talkie-talkie session. That tends to be how these go. The last one was very talkie-talkie. And we can do one small action. We'll say 1 to 2. actions each, or together one big action. Prepare for Takisha's arrival. They can also ride out, meet Takisha before she shows up. Shows up at the refugee camp. They have the things that they have. It's up to them to sort of provide proof. I'm just going to leave a little reminder down here. Reminder. You need to provide hard proof. Resolution. We'll say a planned resolution. Even Takisha was not like, I don't assume that you guys are going to be able to fix this in 2 days. And they couldn't. But an idea that they have a hard proof that shows that they, like a proof of concept, essentially, that they can take care of this. I'm going to say that this is going to DC. It's probably going to be a straightforward kind of skill challenge thing is what I'm expecting this will be. That I'll probably have each of them make a few rolls. They say the thing they want to say. And I also need to determine who's going to show up. So, put down. Attendees. The group. And I'll just put yeah, I'm going to do the group. You know, at this point, I'm just going to call them the mainlanders. I'm going to give the group the day. I'm going to be the mainlanders, because they're on an island, and they're not from the island, from the mainland. Who else is going to be there? Halamith's going to be there. Technically, Noof will be there, but it would be foolish for Noof to say anything during this encounter. Halamith will be there. I'm going to say potentials. Potentials of people who are going to be there. Well, what freaking name? Plague and Speak. Bayfera. Dassos. And Kirith. Blah, 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 blah. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the refugee camp guy's name. What's his name? Event blank only. That's the audience will be Farah. They go back too far. Risa. Yeah. Alright, let's put that down there. Yeah, think about it. So, people who are going to be there. Halamith. Ghazi Takisha. Risa's going to be there. There are a lot of other potential. That was one of the ones I was going to look up. Even though I think he might be... Might just show up. It's going to bug me that I can't find this guy's name. Grinbark. There we go. Elder Grinbark. I know his name's Bark something. Grinbark. Okay, I had it right. So, Grinbark. So there are a lot of potential people who could show up. We don't know who else could show up. I mean, I guess I could make that decision right now. So they still have time that they could call on people. But there's no way that they would know who is or is not going to show up. The problem is I have a bunch of NPCs. Many of them could show up. And I mean, I guess we can lay them all out. So Parisa might show up, Elder Grinbark might show up, Amina might show up, or Crookback Amina. Bayfera. Johnny Kirith. Ghazi Fazil. Oh, what's her face? Scuff Dalen. Do it. Yeah. Let me. I don't think Chaff will be there. Lightkeeper Paris might be there. Actually, she would probably send her. She'd probably send her bailiff. Yeah. Probably a bailiff. The Scared Heifer. And I might not remember who Scared Heifer is. Let me come up with a different name for them. Scared Heifer, it's gonna be same morning. Heifer. That'll be more. Somebody who had some people die. So that's gonna be them. They might show up. I'm trying to think of anybody else who might show up. Crashers? Question mark? I think that's everybody involved, though. Let me look at the map real quick. I can't imagine anybody else is. Maybe somebody from Dassos. Yeah, I've got to have the lady from Dassos be a potential. I think. Sorry, I'm just looking at the map. I'm not gonna bring it up on screen. It's a hex map. My key for everything. That's the northeast. I'm not looking. Oh, it'd be very funny if the pirates showed up too. I'll throw them in the mix. Just a fun thing, because this is more like just people who could show up because they're kind of in and around the area. We'll have them here, like Crashers. Even though that's not really Crasher. Dassos lady. And we'll say Dassos widow. Alright, Captain. I think that's about it. I'm trying to think of anybody else who might be. Because I don't think Sammy and Samir would be there. I can't imagine. Yeah, I think that's probably good. Yeah. You know what? Just for funsies. Be like, giant? Question mark? Could be. Could be. Actually, that's a good one for crashers. People who could be crashing. Crashers. We could have giants, elementals, cultists, the Hogwin, beans. All these people are in the area. We also got some other people who are just chilling. But like the central hex. Yeah, I guess Baysod is technically in the mix. She's like pretty far away though. Far away. I mean, Kashani Kira is way further away. Yeah, so I'm going to remove Kashani Kirith from the list. He was there earlier, but it doesn't really make sense. He was only hanging out there because it was the end of the festival. He would not be coming back, so this is going to be... Maybe Baysada. And that's going to be a maybe. Yeah, I think that's everybody could potentially show up. I mean, I could put what's his face back in there, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. That dude's from what session is he in? That. Yes. Yeah, Tom Perfumer. I could drop him back in. I don't think I gave him an. Yeah, I don't think anybody would be coming east from that. They were looking very, very specific. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put the Mercer in there. Just in case. He's like really unlikely to show up. But the Mercer could show up. Because these are also other people who are very much interested in the Ethermaster suite. Okay. So we know who's going to be there. Primarily, we know it's going to be the mainlanders are going to be there. Hallam is for sure going to be there. Ghazi Takisha is going to be there. It's likely that a bunch of these other people are also going to show up. So I'm just gonna roll. I'm gonna roll to see who's also showing up out of these. So Parisa could show up, but she is kind of a major domo, so she might not. So I think that that's a pretty straightforward 1d20. No. Okay, so Parisa's not showing up. Parisa's not showing up. Aldrigan Bark is going to show up. Okay. Bark's going to be there. Excellent. Question, is Bay Farah coming? I mean, I think kind of 50-50. No. So I think that means it's slightly more likely that Amina's going to show up, so +3. Nope. Neither of them are going to show up. So I'm going to leave them under potentials. Because they'll show up, but somebody's got to go get them. They're not showing up of their own free will. Fazil. I think Fazil's... I have to ask a clarifying question. It's a new week. Has control of the throat crossed over? So the throat is an area at the southern, that kind of bisects the north and south aspects of the island, where there's jungle on the east side and jungle on the west side, and then there's sort of a mile or two passage in the middle where there's no jungle. They've kind of carved out the jungle so you can move from the south to the north of the island very easily. In the middle of that, there's a big watchtower. They call it the throat because it's the throat of the island. There's a big watchtower, and it's dual manned by Ghazi Fazil and Ghazi Takisha, and they switch off, kind of like at the border of their lands. Now, Ghazi Fazil did have it previously, and that's why he was all up in Ghazi Takisha. By the way, those two do not like each other. This watchtower is a constant issue with them. And we do know, previously we've seen that Ghazi Fazil does not, the PCs have seen him not want to give up control of the watchtower to Takisha. So I think that's likely. I think it's likely that he's at the throat still. Yes, he's very much. So Fazil is for sure going to be there. Ghazi Fazil in the house, for sure. Eshkafti Lin. I think it's about a 50-50. I would say normally she wouldn't be here because she's literally off the island over where the big temple is. But there's clearly a relationship between herself and Ghazi Takisha, that they are somewhat closer, so I think Ghazi Takisha might call upon her. So that's the only reason she's getting rolled. So is she going to come? Yes. Ooh, natural 20. She's for sure coming. Okay. So, as Fazil's coming, Skafte Lin's coming. Hey, how you doing, Sans? Nice to see you. I'm doing alright. How are you doing? Doing well? Jumping in and doing some prep. Trying to figure out who's going to show up to this tete-a-tete talk. The Pale Bailiff. I think that's unlikely. Lightkeeper Paris has kind of shown herself to be above a lot of this stuff. So I think it's unlikely. So -3. Another natural 20, though, so they are for sure coming. Okay. Specifically. Ooh. So, I got a natural 20. Does that mean that Lightkeeper Paris herself is coming? So, I'm going to roll for her. Okay. Lightkeeper Paris is coming. That's very interesting. She doesn't get off her duff for a lot of things. It means it's one of those things where it's like the big dog's moving. Why is the big dog moving? Why does the big dog care about this? The morning heifer. No. It could be called upon. I don't know why they would call upon her. They're not going to have nice things to say. The Dassos widow. Not coming. Could be called upon, though. That would... I don't know why they would call on her, but she would be a good person to have. She's very good character witness for them. And pirate captain. I think the pirate captain is pretty unlikely to show up, especially now knowing that Lightkeeper Paris is there. But maybe. All right. I'm gonna have to give these guys names. Pirate captain's gonna. All right. So crashers. There are a lot of people who could be crashing. So we should put LA attendees and put over here. We're gonna put we're gonna say we'll say positive, negative attendees. There are people here that are not on the same side. So Ghazi Takisha is gonna be over here for sure. Eshkaf Dalin's gonna also be over here. They probably did not explain to Eshkaf Dalin that this has to do with the mainlanders. Because she does favor Caleb Co. very strongly. But Caleb Co. also is sort of lying about who he is. In a roundabout way. I don't know, like, Keeper Paris's stance, actually. Maybe she show up. She might be showing up because Ghazi Takisha kind of acting a fool. But she could also be showing up because Ghazi Takisha called her. I think Lightkeeper Paris is probably 50-50. The real high she's going to be on coming in is very neutral. No, she's coming in hot. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, okay, so Ghazi Takisha's like, I'm stepping beyond my means and I'm bringing in the big dogs behind me. Back me up. Because that means Eshkaf Dalin and Lightkeeper Paris are going to show up in her quarter. Who are two extremely powerful individuals. Not necessarily from like a CR monster level, more like politically they're very important. Like one's technically the person in charge of the island. And the one town on the island, that's Lightkeeper Paris. And Eshkaf Dalin's like a bishop. Like she's equal in stature to kind of like a bishop. So she is the primary authority for the religion on the island. Kind of. I mean, I guess. I guess the Leviathan Temple has its own people that she's not in charge of, but not really. But yeah, I'd say that she's generally in. I think the pirates are just neutral. They're really more crashers than anything. Because who knows that they're out there? The only person who might know they're out there is Lightkeeper Paris. So yeah, let me ask, does anybody know who these people are? Okay, so somebody did bring them in. It has to be somebody from Northside, though. Who would have brought them in? It was not probably the mainlanders. Probably not Halamuth. Not gonna be anybody in the negative camp because none of those are all southern people. South of the Throat people. So it's got to be somebody from the north side, so... I mean, it would be wild if Elder Grinbark is the one who pulled them in. Ooh, you know what? I'll just make that be the... That'll be the... Here. Yeah. So, as they prepare. So, as they prepare... They catch up. Catch the pirates. Have they returned with some sort of loot? Almost extremely, yes. Yeah. Okay, so they have returned. They have worked through the night, and they have come back. Got some sort of... It's going to be a very interesting meeting because Paris is going to show up. I'm going to have to... I'm glad that I have, like, another 2 weeks to think about this, because I'm going to have to noodle on this a little bit to figure out what that's going to be. That's going to be real interesting. Because the pirates name-dropped Paris. They're looking for something. Potentially on behalf of Paris, maybe something Paris left behind. Which is... I don't know if she's in the NPC stable. Is she? Paris... Ups and downs with the PCs will probably help Pearl recover Clovis from the campfire and nappers. Yeah. Ooh, actually, that would be even better. He's pretty far away, though. He's pretty far away. The homeboy could, for sure, be crashing. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Is Japheth gonna show up? Okay. I'm gonna leave him under a maybe. Because it's really... Yeah, because it's really dependent on whether Mercer shows up. Because if Mercer shows up, we might see Japheth. Might also see Worf, whose name I'm blinking on right now. Kind of a minor NPC, but he might show up. Alright, so the pirates are going to be there as they catch the pirates. Turning to... I assume they're headed back to Paulay. I don't know where the hell else they would be going. They've got to be going back to Paulay. I mean, they could always just come across Japheth. Japheth would be... yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's literally a straight shot, like right through the area they're going to be. But he would have to be going in a literal straight line from where he was to where he needs to get to, which is unlikely. But he'd pass nearish there. Yeah. Especially if they met at the fairgrounds, they'd probably see him. On his way to probably the Plainspeak. So I'm going to drop... So Crashers, what orders do I want to put these in? Base out is not really a crasher, I guess. Just a question, is base auto coming? Yes, okay. Base auto, and we don't really know base auto's take. She on the positive side? Maybe. No, she's on the negative side. Yeah. Yeah, alright. unfortunately, the negative attendees are pretty stacked. They've got Ghazi Takisha, Dalen, Lightkeeper Paris, and Baysada. And the mainlanders don't really have anybody. I mean, Helmut's a good pull, but he's more of like the expert and less like the influence. He's not the politician. They don't really have any politicians who are hanging out right now if they don't go get somebody. This Widow could be. I mean, I'm just gonna put him down here, Kashan Kirith. It would be a hell of a ride to get there and back, as the group already knows. And they could maybe take their donkey there, but their donkey doesn't really have a riding saddle. But I mean, they could maybe get there. Yeah, yes, I am fairly busy. Thank you. Yeah, trying to get this done. Trying to get it done. Yeah, I'm glad that I have two weeks or so to monkey around with this, because this is going to take a lot, because there's a lot of NPCs that are in the mix, because this is a very important thing. We're talking about potentially like a epidemic outbreak on the island. Could be very, very negative. And I don't think there's going to be. Yeah, I mean, people might be coming down from the northwest. I forgot about the watering hole. The watering hole's up there. Do they? Question. Go to 5e2. I don't think they get. They're not like unicorns, right? Nope. Nope. But somebody could make a case for going after them. Yeah, it's not a unicorn grove, unfortunately. It is a Pegasus watering hole. Which means, because they need some celestial energy, and that would have been a good way to get it from a unicorn. But, because the unicorn can cast spells, but the Pegasus cannot. Pegasi are not spellcasters. What's the name of our dwarf? Thorin! There we go. He's got a very dwarf name. Okay. The people who could crash. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, perfect. Crashers. 1d6. And I'm going to put them in alphabetical order because two things. Elementals, giants. Fiends go in here. May or may not be our friend. Mercer. With the draft forward. The Hoogan. Boom. Easily done. Very interesting. No, I did answer. I said, hey, and how are you doing? I said, I'm doing fine. Oh, probably because I was in the middle of talking. Yeah. I'm trying to get through a thought. Alright, so we got our 1d6 crashers. Get the negative attendees, the pirates. So I guess we put these under neutral attendees? I kind of want to just maybe determine who's going to be there first instead of. Normally, I would just leave it up in the air and improv it on the fly, but I've got so many fish in the kettle here that I really need to maybe kind of determine who's going to show up. I think, yeah. And these people will show up if they are called to do so. Again, it would be wild if the group decided to call on the morning halfer. Again, that would be weird. I don't know why they would do it. The halfers can not have a very nice opinion of specifically Ash. Okay, so our 1d6 party crashers. I really need to. I kind of want to do. This guy has a pretty good interest in it. This guy's got a pretty good interest in it. These guys have a pretty good interest in it. These guys are just kind of around. But doing this one would lead us back into waiting here. That's probably who it's going to be. If somebody's going to show up. You know, when in doubt, let's roll a die and see what happens. I don't have to take it, but I'm going to check it. 1, 2, 3, 4 giants. Giants could work. I'm not fully sold on it. Let me see if I roll something better. And then that's a little bit easier to implement. 2. Elementals, that's just the other side of giants. Those are, in fact, the 2 hardest ones to incorporate, I feel like. Alright, I'm going to go with... You know what? F it. I can do it. I can do it live. I can improv it. I can trust in myself that I can do this. Alright, so this will be our 1d6 party crashers. We'll make that a 4. And I'm just going to put down whoever shows up, why the heck they're showing up. That makes that easy enough. Elementals, why are they showing up? I don't really know. Swing. Cultists, easy. So they're following the party's trail for the Ether Master Suite. Elementals, why are the elementals here? Why would the elementals be coming south? They're far away. Like, who's on the eastern hex? Or western hex, not east. Ooh, is that it? Didn't show up. A bit closer. Yeah, actually, that would make more sense than those guys and those elementals. But why would they be there? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to remove elementals because that actually does not make a lot of sense. And then I'm going to put... well, how far away is Homeboy? I think. Keep looking at this. keep wanting to try to find a reason to get this guy incorporated, but he's so far away from everything. Yeah, so I'm gonna split out Japheth. I'm gonna split him out. He's on the way to Mudsnake. The Giants are gonna be. That's gonna be Lasha. Cultists are divining for the Ethermaster Suite, so that's the reason why they would show up. You know, prep the LZ. Gonna prep the landing zone. Mad Lasha's after the interlopers. Mercer. I'm sure. Actually, I don't know if Thorn knows about that. Oh, I guess, yeah, maybe leading Mercer. After group. They'll have had some discussion about the Ethermaster Suite. Let's hope nothing burns them or there will be a lot of ash. Last time Ash is the one who did all the fire. It wasn't great. And the Sahagwin. Hey man. They're going topside. Alright, perfect. So now I know why these people might be crashing. That works for me. Go ahead and insert there. Alright, I need a DC for the showdown. Showcase showdown. Price is right. 14. I'll take it. And for the prep action, I suppose. Ooh. That's very high DC. They could. You know what? I'm gonna swap these. Showdown's gonna be 16. This gonna be 14. We'll go from 16. And I'll just put a slash down here. And you know what? I'll drop it by 3. Now that they have lost kind of their talking PC, remember that I should probably let the social DCs be a little bit lower so they can actually hit them. But they can also do some work beforehand. Alright. We know who might show up and why they might show up. And what's his face have a name? I don't think they got this guy's name. Dylan, the kissing booth. Break, Besada, Chap, here, Nikki, Berlin. Oh, yeah. I would switch that maybe for Japheth. Okay. was gonna say if Charles Rogel would show up, that would be a fun NPC to bring back in. Well, well, well. What do we have here? Not the quiz master. I thought it was in this one. Oh, sorry, I said Mercer. I meant Haberdasher. That's what I'm looking for. I don't think the Haberdasher has a name. Or they did not ask the Haberdasher for their name. Most importantly is the Haberdasher is human. There's not a lot of running around. So we'll swap him back over. Haberdasher. Guess the name checks out. And Elemental's there because, I mean, Elementals would make sense. There's a lot of Elemental stuff with the Ethermaster suite, so they might be drawn to it, but unfortunately, nobody who's going to be there has potentially anybody who's going to be there doesn't have any of the Ethermaster suite. So Elementals maybe wouldn't be called to it. The Sahagwin are definitely looking for it, though. They're looking for one specific. Sahagwin are also just being fishmen. Also, there's a lot of ashes and fire. One getting high for that for some reason. It's got all those spores in it. They're gonna hit up with a lavender blight. I think at this point I'm gonna take a quick break because I need to go get some more coffee. I need to use the bathroom and I need to give my dog some medicine. You guys hang on. We'll come back and we'll finish up as much of the prep that I'm gonna work on today. I guess we can cut this out anyway there. We'll go back and I'll try to figure out. We know there's gonna be a big social thing, but I need to figure out what happens when stuff goes wrong. So, you guys hang on for a minute. I'll be back here in just a second, okay? Alright. And I'm back. So, think about this. Alright, so we can look at everything we got here. I need to look at it. There we go. We know that the holy water is the best tool for the job. We got the source of the blight, the giant wisteria tree. They know that there are issues with the giant circuit box, and Swain has appeared. They have some small actions they can do, or they can take like one big action together. That big action could be, hey, we're going to ride out to meet Takisha. And by ride out, I mean primarily just walk. Did I put their exhaustion down here? I certainly did not. I should put that, technically not an injury, but exhaustion. So we'll just do it this way. Injuries. So Caleb has 3, and I believe Zarnok also has 3. And we're using the 2014 rules, which means that they have disadvantage on checks. They move at half speed, and they have disadvantage on attack and saving throw. So they do not want to get into a combat. Getting into a combat would be very bad. You're like, if things go wrong, oh, sounds like it actually can go anyway except wrong. Likely, they should probably pass all of this. They shouldn't probably have a difficult time. But here's the thing. Players have this thing that they do when everything's in their favor. That's when they don't roll well. And then when everything's stacked against them is when they do roll well. So if everything's in their favor, which at this point it kind of is, I mean, they still need to overcome. They need to basically convince all 4 of these people down here, kind of push them over to the side, to their side. Eshkoff Dalen's probably going to be the easiest sell because she already likes Caleb. She's very drawn to Caleb. They don't know why yet, but she is. Lightkeeper Paris, she's going to be a bit of a hard sell just because her pay grade is so much higher than these people. It's like, she's annoyed that she has to actually be here, I think is pretty much her problem. Besada is threatened. She just needs to see a resolution as to what they're going to do, because her lands are very close to this. They abut Bayfarah's lands, and she will probably be quite upset that Bayfarah isn't there, and that's going to be one of the worst things about it for her. And Ghazi Takisha will be the real hard line. If everybody counters her, she'll probably step down, but she's going to be the hardest sell out of all of them because she has already tried to resolve this situation once, and she's here with all her people to try and resolve it again. Then we'll see what happens with the pirates, because the pirates could really screw up things with Lightkeeper Paris. Sure about their intentions, and because I don't know, this is a good chance to use our Oracle. Let's see if we get something out of it. I need Solo Dark. Be the one I've been using lately. It's worked out pretty well, so I'll keep using it. Load PDF. Load for all you're worth. 1212. 789. 7 create. Okay. Idea. Yeah. Oh boy, not sure I know what that would be. Because I was going to let that improv scene be, because I did not fill out any of the stuff that they were digging up, or why, because I kind of wanted to just do that off the cuff, rather than pre-figure out because I didn't even know if they were going to meet with the pirates or not. They did meet with the pirates. They didn't ask anything about what the pirates were doing. Digging up something. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they are not really on good terms with Lightkeeper Paris. Create idea has me a little stumped, so I'm going to invert those numbers. So it's going to be 70 and 98. Win, that's better. Win motive. Win motive. I feel like there's something there. It's just like just beyond my grasp that I can figure out what it would mean. Win motive. That motive for Lightkeeper Paris? Maybe. Win motivation could just be that they can give a rather compelling explanation of the two people returning from the Lavender Grove. They have a pretty compelling story. Well, they have a compelling. How they helped the priest. They were very nice to Caleb, thinking he was a priest, cleric, not a priest. But how they did their basically hospitality duty, let them around the fire, all that stuff. So I think maybe they're going to use that to kind of. They can change. They could win the motivation. I think here of Eshkoff de Lin, who is the big mucky muck to kind of, as far as religion's concerned, at that meeting, impress. I'm gonna say deep. So don't think it's a random priest I'm talking about. Crookback and Mina might show up. Bayfair might show up. They're called upon. The Morning Halfer, I don't know why they would call upon them. The bad guys could call upon this. They wouldn't know about the Dassos widow. Actually, the Dassos widow's in their favor. So really the only person they could potentially call upon would be the Morning Halfer. The Morning Halfer was in the woods. I would put them closer to like Ghazi Hills area. But they could have run to Palais. They could have for sure run to Palais. Maybe that's what the Morning Halfer did. They ran to Palais after they watched, one of their brother, I think? I don't remember. I think either brother or cousin, one of the two, get immolated alive by Ash. So, not great. But, they were also trying to burn the vegemen alive. So, not great. Roll for bard trigger reaction. Roll for persuasion. Is that the right word? I kind of forgot. Yes, persuasion is the right word. Not roll for seduction. Most of the time. I roll to seduce all the NPCs. Okay. Yeah, no, I think this will work. I think this is good. I'm gonna feel bad. There's not really gonna be any exploration there, but there's just was a lot of exploration. There's probably going to continue to be a lot of exploration. The big one is the party crashers who are going to show up. That'll depend a lot of things. Yeah, so they essentially need to. I'm gonna do it this way. Uh, need to show their proof and persuade position to help. Because really, if they have a proof of concept, which they pretty much do, they do have to prove how they're gonna do that stuff, how they're gonna take care of that. Because they need, holy water costs money, but because I rolled for it, Edgecoff Dalen's going to be there, and that would be the person who's going to have the most means to make that happen. Like, you Preparis can foot the bill because it's for the whole thing. Besada, Besada's there because she has one on her land. So she's coming at it from the same angle Ghazi Takisha is like, we need to deal with this threat before it reaches into our actual domains, into our fiefdoms. I'm gonna have to figure out what the pirates have. Now there is a spot not that far away, well, a little bit far away from where they are, where there is a treasure rumor, right? It's a relic rumor. So they could be looking for that. What else could they be looking up there? I mean, they could be looking for lots of stuff up there. There's the dragon bones that they could be looking for. They could be looking for the Modrons. That seems unlikely. They could be looking for the satyrs. They could be looking for the cockatrice. Or the Pegasus. There's a lot of stuff they could be looking for. Or they could be looking for the tomb. Alright. That's technically where they are, right? Yeah, because they went around that way. Trying to think how to put stuff together. I make the connections between those things. And pirates and gold. Yeah, they could be gold. The thing is that they're actually were at a point where they were digging into an old tomb. Technically, they're searching for a tomb. So maybe I'll just have them searching rather than them have a lot of money on them. Though they really didn't get a ton of treasure. A little bit of treasure. Yeah, I guess I'll just roll for it. It's like, hey, do these guys have any treasure on them? Question mark. Okay, they do. Cool. So they've looted some things. And is it at the tomb? Question mark. No, okay. So they're looking for something completely different. Maybe the tomb is the landmark for them. And let's give them some loot. Let's see what they find. That's what we're gonna do. What's the best way to do that? I'm gonna throw you back over to me so I can then me. Yeah, I don't know if that was dumb. No, I'm just gonna keep it here. I'm not gonna go looking for that document. I'm just gonna use it. My Dungeon Master binder. I'm just gonna use the hard copy. Sorry, guys, I'm not gonna pull it up. Yes. No, we're doing today. Rush the last little bit of the stream. I want to spend time looking for a document. All right. Well, we have 3 PCs, so we'll have it, and there's 3 pirates, so roll 3 times. How about that? 1, 2, 3. 4, 9, and 14. Okay. The pocket contents and 2 trade goods. I like it. Now let's do the trade goods first. A couple of hot D20s out there. 19 is textiles, and 15 would be medicine. I'm not sure that I dig medicine, so let's roll for something else. Oh, actually, no, I totally dig medicine. They totally talked to this guy. This guy was talking, and they just gave him some more medicine because he's a sawbones. I forgot about that. Cursed bones. There's certainly plenty of cursed bones around. So you make a good point. I just don't think that they are at that place. So that would be why potentially she's upset with them. Yeah, let's go ahead and say cursed. I like that idea. Thanks, Sans. I think this is going to be cursed too. Because I think this is going to be... probably related to Paris's control of the undead. So they're going to find some textiles. Listen. They're going to find some sort of like super cool... The irony that they might find some... I might give them some sort of just like panacea. They're like, we have to... with the whole adventure being like, hey, we need to take care of this blight. Like this infectious blight that's ripping through the population. Oh, we found this medicine that literally cures anything. Give me that. That could very likely happen. That's very funny though. I forgot one of those guys was a Sawbones. The other one was Captain. I'm gonna go ahead and put that down in my notes. I don't think I said which one it was, so let's just roll. 2 and 5. So if it's low, it's gonna be this red. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I just lost my spot. There it is. It'll be the Sawbones. Good to know. Alright. I rolled a 2 and a 6? 2 and a 5. That's a bit boring. I'll do 5 and 2. 5 and 2 is just money. Let's see if I get something better than just money. 3 and 3. No, I don't like that better. So they're gonna come across some money. That's convenient. Alright, they got 24 silver. They don't have a lot of money on them. That was probably not worth going out for. You know what? I'll be generous. I'll make it gold. Why not? And they're gonna find some textiles. And it'll be very easy. Let's roll for that. Well, I wonder if I did it that way. That's rolling a lot of dice, but I'm using a digital die. I'm gonna try something out real quick. Very good. And then 17. It'd be a D100 gold pieces. Like that. 72 gold pieces. Make it 70. No, I guess I should make it 72. Better divisible. I can tell you. So it's bolt of silk. It's gonna be worth 72 gold. About 7 yards. Silk and some medicine. I like that. That worked out all right. You didn't expect. Hi. Yeah. Oh, there it goes. Now it's back. I don't know if it's a driver situation or what's going on with it. The last few streams it's been doing that, and just randomly in the middle of the stream that it's screwing up. So I don't know if it's a OBS issue or if it's a sound driver issue on my computer. Who knows? But yeah, we're back now. Yeah, this is working out alright. I don't hate this. I might change this. Well, it proves to not be useful. Rolling a d20 per. I guess I should roll it. Technically, I should roll 3 of them. They're level 3, they're not level 4. Oh boy. Alright, that's a d100. Another d100 gold pieces. Works. 53, I'll probably round that down to 50. 50G. And alright, so they have some loot on them. They have this purse. They have some medicine. You might be like, what kind of medicine would you find buried? But it could be something that's inorganic. Like a lot of medicine, like it could be bismuth, which is where we get like the pink from Pepto-Bismol from. Could be something like that. It could be talc or charcoal or any number of things. So charcoal's not a good example because organic. Could be. They did talk about mercury. It could be mercury or lithium. They talked about both of those things in the session. The Zopbones did, because they actually traded these guys some medicine for the donkey, along with some other stuff. So if they take this from these guys, which would be very rude of them, they could recoup some of this money. Okay, I think that gives me a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. I think after this, I need to make some. I might need some stat blocks. Actually, I'm going to need some stat blocks. So I've already got the pirates, so that's helpful. Because I can pull them. In fact, I don't even have to I usually print out my session prep. I think these guys are just right on it. Their stat blocks are already on the back of the sheet. I don't need to do the pirates. So we don't have to do the pirates. Oh, cut out just when I was reading my last comment. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't expect that anything you said would actually be used. Yeah, sometimes you just have to key on something that was already going on with the undead. There's a rumor of undead control and stuff like that around Lightkeeper Paris. So she's related to the pirates. She's a former retired pirate. I was like, it could make sense. And she would probably be upset with them being anywhere around that place. If it's got truly cursed pirate bones in it. Alright, so we got the pirates that are going to be in there. We're going to need some cultists. We're going to need Swain. Fiends, I'll need something for Swain. That'll be easy to do. I've already got Mad Lasha. Lasha stat block. Don't fight Lasha, though. That would be a bad idea. Japheth. I can't imagine they would get in a fight with Japheth, so I don't think I'll need his stat block. And I don't think they'll get in a fight with the Haberdasher or Thorin. So then it's just the Sahuagin. And actually, I don't need to do that one because they're in... We've got stat blocks for them in Maragon's Gate. So, this stat block's taken care of. Stat block's taken care of. Technically, this stat block's already taken care of. And this stat block's taken care of. So I just really need... In fact, I probably have the cultists here too. Think about it. Back here. Yep, I got a cultist stat block. We don't need that either. Have prepped. Dang it. There we go. So I've got that for that. That'll work just fine. Got one for cultists. So really, I just need something for Swain and Fiends, and I'd have to figure out what that would be. These guys are going to be pretty easy. I mean, I already know it's like Captain Thugs, cultists. So let's do some pithy math real quick. So we've got 3 players. They are 3rd level. Cultists. We need to change the settings to 2014's encounter rules, because if I do 2024, I will kill them. Kill all my players for sure. I can still give them a bajillion cultists, though. Seriously? You really think they can handle up to 14? Let's see, what would that be? Do like 3d4 plus 2. Yeah, 3d4 plus 2. And I will just, rather than do that at the table, let's just roll it now. 10 plus 2. Okay, so 12. That's still a pretty tough fight. Both cultists. It'll be a tough fight. Especially since they've got a druid with them. They've got a little bit of area of effect. They got a bit of a controller thing going on. It'll still be a very tough fight for them, though. This wasn't the right one, yeah. Because here, I bet if we swap it here to 2024 rules, it'll be like, you can handle a bajillion of these guys. Yeah, they're like 12. That's trivial. This is why the 2024 encounter building rules don't work. According to the encounter builder in 2024, the revised one, 3 3rd-level PCs should be able to fight up to 58 cultists and still have that be manageable. Sure, it's a hard fight, but still, even if it was your one fight in the day, those guys are still going to kill you. There's way too many of them. But we are going to have 12. be 12 of those guys. Swain and the Fiends, which sounds like a band name. Let's go with, who do we want to check on first? Let's go with a humanoid. I don't know if I have a good one here. Do this encounter. Get out of here. I usually make a high. And did I switch back over? No, I have not. There we go. Generate encounter. Regenerate encounter. No, I want it hard, man. A drow's pretty good. He's a little drowish. Bugbear. Actually, this will be easier if I do it this way. There is in here, because it came in what, Xanthar's Guide? The quick matchups. Tells you one per PC, kind of the. So you need something that's about 1/2. Get something that's about 1/2 for the DR. I could give him the Fire Newt Warrior. That would be fun. It's Verfniblin. So Kobold Inventors, I think, does some weird stuff, right? Let's look real quick. Kobold Inventor. Kobold Inventor. Inventor. Yeah, they got a bunch of stuff. Translate pod. I like this guy, but I would have to do some work. I might just use like Apprentice Wizard. Fire Newt Warrior. I would use a Hobgoblin. Aware. Golk, a Thug, a Bugbear, a Dwergar. Those guys are too much. Not a great choice because he's an artificer, so I want something artificery. The Kobold Inventor is okay. I would probably change their initial thing. Actually, maybe I'll use the basic old null. Yeah, it works pretty good. Let's get some fiendies on the board. Fiends. Someone didn't believe me when I said about it first time. It's probably a problem on my side. Oh, no. And no, it's definitely something going on with my mic. Yeah, I'm not sure it is. I might give him an imp. Ooh, yeah, that'd be good. Have their little dude show up with them. Be nice. Both those are pretty nasty. I don't remember what the Maw Demon does. Let me check a good stat block for these guys. Disgorge. That's pretty nice. The imp stat block is pretty. Magic resistance, invisibility. They have their sting, their shapeshift. And what about sting, invisibility? Same thing. Quasit, which I think is also very close. I do love me a Quasit. And my local gaming store, they have a Quasit sculpt, like a life-size Quasit sculpt, but I really just want to take it from every time I see it. I love those little creatures. They're freaking weird looking. Yeah, these little guys. I like them. So my game store has like a life-size one. Yeah, it basically looks like that guy. Actually, I think it is that guy. That's a life-size little closet. I want him dearly. Invisibility, rend, scare, target is frightened condition, shapeshift. Yeah, I'm gonna use the Maw Demon. I think that'll work better. I'm gonna give him something that has something to do. Most of those are not really combat. They were meant to be familiar, so you can tell why. And then maybe some ears to kind of round it out. And we could have up to 9. Let's go with... I don't really need to make it too hard. Sure, let's roll a d8. Oh, that's very high. Yeah. I was trying to avoid that, but yeah, I'm gonna go with that instead. I don't want it to be too tough of a fight. I don't want to be doing this fight forever. If it even comes up. Okay, so that's going to be Swaying in Friend and Fiends, which is going to be a Maw Demon. What was that? 4. Lemure. And... And what did I choose for him? A Null. That's fine. I think I'm just going to go with the basic Null, because the Null... Fight, Hunter Senses, Rampage. Maybe I really want the Null Hunter. Yeah. Let me use Null Hunter, which I think has the same CR, but is much, much better. CR. Why are you not showing me a CR? I still think there's CR 1/2 though, yeah. I'm gonna go with Null Hunter because I can reflavor his gun and Firebolt and other stuff in there. That's fine. I'll do that. That's about his AC. More hit points than he had, but that's fine. We'll go with the Null Hunter. Bringing the Fiends. The Maw Demon is mawing. What else? He's mawing. Looks like Yoda fused with some bug and turned aggressive. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this guy. Yeah. I don't know. Every time I look at this guy, I'm like, he looks like a little demon flea. Yeah, I don't like that one as much. I really like the 5th edition revamp of them. Very fun. Bothersome Quasit. Goaded creatures your opponent's control cannot block. They're fun. I like them. I'm gonna steal that from my store. I'm not gonna steal it from my store. They want to every time. I'd pay for it, but I'm sure that they want $1 billion for it. Like, what is this thing? You guys holding it? There, Amazon. How much? How much, Amazon? How much? How much? Tell me how much. Guess you can't freaking buy it. Even if I had it, I don't know where the heck I'd put it. They're very cool. I really like it. Which is good. Releases June 27th. That doesn't seem right. I feel like I had this guy before that, but maybe not. I'd seen that guy before that. I could be wrong. Can I just search for this? I want to know how much this guy is. Yeah, whatever. Give me maybe a shopping tab. Yeah. Just a quick, $570. Worth it. I was like, that's totally Not worth it. Anyways, getting sidetracked. That's alright. Okay, so we have our stat blocks. We know what's going to happen. They have a chance to come up. I don't need to know what the actions are going to take before this all goes down. They have the opportunity to do whatever they want. I don't think they have access to, I'm pretty sure, a lesser restoration. Yeah, I gave him a gun as his sort of exiting, right? Yeah, because he's an artificer with a gun. Even though his gun I don't think does much more damage than his firebolt does. I think it's pretty similar. But yeah, he's got a gun now. Got his demon gun. So I think this is pretty much all I need to do. I could put the stat blocks in here, but the only one I really need to do is Swain. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's do Swain and then I'll be done. That'll be it for this stream. Let me drop Swain in though, because I have everybody else's. I'm pretty sure I have the Sahagwins, right? Yes. Oh, I need to do. How many of these guys are in there? They're Lasha. Lasha's a solo. Don't need anything else with Lasha because Lasha's she a bad bitch. Sahagwin warriors. These guys are CR 1/4. Can figure them out real quick. That filter is coming. Sahagwin. But Sahagwin 1/2. Why do I have Sahagwin 1/8? What is this? This is not the same stat block. This is not the same stat block. Okay. Alright, so a d4 plus 1 seems reasonable. Nope. Roll the die. 2. Alright, 2 Sahagwin. So that would definitely be the easiest encounter by far. 2. Perfect. Yeah, let's go ahead and do the Null Hunter. I'm here. We're doing it. The Null Hunter, AC 13, HP 22. +22. Speed +2, +2, +1. Now, this isn't going to have his actual stat spread, but that's okay, because intelligence is definitely not the artificer's dump stat. That's okay. And he's also very charismatic. +1. Okay, sorry, this one. But it's okay. None of those things should probably come up in a conversation. They're probably going to kill him. Multi-attack makes 2 bite, spear, or longbow attacks. He's obviously not going to have a bite attack. I think he had 4. I'll make this his pistol attack. That seems fine. Yeah, so he can make 2 pistol attacks, or he can do, yeah. Pistol. Or he can do a firebolt. Or he can do 2x dagger attack, if he really needs to. But he's probably not going to want to do that. But truly is his only attack spell he had. First bonus is to hit. +4. That'll work. +4, 1d4 +2. The firebolt is going to be +4, and that's 1d10 damage, and the dagger is +4, 4 +2. I guess I could have just consolidate this. Dagger or pistol. There, done. Really all I need to know about them, because he doesn't really have any special things going on, except resist fire. I'm not going to give him the rampage ability. And I'll give him the reaction for, oh, what's the stupid reaction called? Hellish Rebuke. What's Hellish Rebuke now? Let me get the tiefling stat block. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I just that. Hellish Rebuke. Reaction 60 feet. Dex save or 2d10 fire damage. I'll give him darkness too. Just make him fun. Have fun save. And then he's going I'll give him the darkness spell. You know what? And I'll give him heal pod. I'll give him a healing potion. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna pop these up to +5 because he's got his artificer things that give him better to hits and stuff. Because they count as magique. Just to give him something to do. Alright, that should be it for Swain. 170,000. Well, shit, that's a lot. It is a lot. You want an epic Wild West type of showdown between those two, you know, like the Artificer mutual respect kind of thing. Yeah. Unfortunately, the Artificer's now the bad guy, so, well, that's how it goes. Okay. I think this is a good place to stop. So this is most of everything I need, because I don't need to prep anything other than that, because they will probably end up going down the dungeon. They might not. They might decide to do something else, but as of right now, that is where I'm expecting them to move after this is resolved. Well, technically, they need to take care of all the other stuff. The problem is I don't know where they're going to go next. So I can't prep where I don't know they're going to go. Because they're going to need to get the whole... They actually have to... I'm jumping so far ahead that it's like, oh, they've resolved the situation. They actually have to do the resolve situation. Which means they're going to have to gather the holy water. But this may be a thing where they kind of like put things in motion. And the inertia will finish this out. Yeah, darkness is essentially reverse flashbang. Yeah. Or just flash. There's not really a bang part to it. It's just the flash part. So they will have to at least get things moving with the cure and trying to get the holy water appointed, which if they get Eshkoff de Lin on their side, they don't necessarily have to get everybody on their side to make this a successful situation, though. They fail to get her on board, they're going to have to get the holy water from somewhere else. There are other places they can go. They can, it was in my previous prep notes, they can go to, there's the Nuns Charity School. They can go there and maybe get it. They can also probably get it from Ghazi Takisha at the Temple of the Leviathan. They can probably get it there. They also might be able to get it from the Death Cleric, even though I'm pretty sure the Death Cleric is dead. Almost likely that he's going to be. He's flashing now. What an indecent guy. That's right. took his pants off. It's time to fight. You gotta take your pants off. The Trailer Park Boys reference. Year of our Lord 2026. Wow. But yeah, I think everything is very good here. I don't need to do any of the rest of this because I know the stuff's going to go out. Presumably, they might get into a fight with some of these nobles. That would be incredibly unwise. It's not like these people are going to show up alone. They're going to have their entire entourage with them. So we're talking about this meeting that's about to happen with Takisha and all these people who are going to show up here. We're going to have the mainlanders, and Halamus going to be there, and Elder Grinbark's going to be there. There's dozens of Vegepygmies here. Ghazi Takisha's coming with an entire retinue of warriors. Probably about a dozen of them, I believe is what we said last time. So about a dozen warriors with her. Eshgaf Lynn's going to have some people with her. Probably she's not going to have as many as anybody else. Probably only has like 3 attendants with her. Lightkeeper Paris. Lightkeeper doesn't get out of bed for nothing, so she's gonna bring some people with her, especially since she's coming by herself. She might have anywhere close up to a score of people with her. Besada will come with some people, at least 1 or 2 other people, probably a few more than Lynn, but not as many as Takisha. So she probably has like 5 people with her, maybe. Pirates have their own thing. Brookback and Mina can be called upon. Bayfera can be called upon. Brookback and Mina might come by herself, might come with somebody else. Bayfera, if they're going to show up, they're going to show up with multiple people. They know that it's probably going to be a fight with Ghazi Takisha, so they'll bring soldiers. The Morning Halfer's not going to bring anybody. Dasso's widow doesn't have anybody to bring. They're dead. Even though technically could bring somebody from Dasso's. But yeah, that is essentially it. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Oh yeah, it's like 1 a.m. for you. Yeah, you hit the rack, man. You gotta get out of here. We'll jump in this Saturday. As far as I know, we are still planning to do our solo RPG, so we'll see you then. If you like this content, you go ahead and like the video, share it around, tell people about it. Subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff. You want to see how D&D session prep goes for someone like me. Hopefully this is useful for you guys prepping your own sessions, or you just enjoy watching somebody do it. Yeah, I think that's about it. So subscribe if you like that stuff. We got a bunch of other videos. We've got the resources, pay what you want over on DriveThruRPG if you want to pick up that stuff. The coffee links down below if you want to throw me a bone. Always appreciate it. And I think that's it. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. All right? Bye.